Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. I start projects. I have a lot of projects. Sometimes I have 4 or 5 or more going at the same time. How do I keep track of them? How do I manage all those things happening at the same time? Well, sometimes I can. Sometimes I don't do quite as well as I do on others. But when I do it best is when I have a plan. Quite often I'm working with things that I have. They're not in the shape that I need them in when I start, but by the time I'm done I need to have them be in a certain shape to do the thing that I want them to do. Well, first I define exactly what I need when I'm done. Because until you have a goal, you can't determine the path to reach the goal. So right now my goal is to make a base for my buffing machine. The buffing machine has a problem. It's a little too low. It's too close to the bench. I can't work off the bottom of the wheel effectively because the buffer sits right on the bench. So I'm going to raise it up about 1.5 inches and see if I can make it a little bit more effective for me. Now to do that, I'm going to use some found material that I have left over from other projects and some of the stuff that was actually in the scrap pile. Scrap piles are great places to look because it's something that you really didn't have a plan for. It's junk. So you're not pulling something out of another project to make this one work. And as you can see, with it sitting flat on the table, I don't have any room underneath that wheel. If I let something go, it's going to get down there and pinch and fling out of the wheel. Not a good thing. So what I want to be able to do is have this buffer sitting up high enough so that I've got room underneath the wheel. I intend to use this piece of, well, I think it's a 2x12, and it's about 11 inches square, 11.5 inches square. Before I start chopping on anything, I like making a sketch. Now the sketch lets me see in my mind's eye exactly what I want to end up with. And it kind of points out things that I might miss and gives me a reminder of where I'm going along down through the project. So I want to have it be 5 inches across at the top because the base of the buffer is about 4 inches. That'll give me a 1/2 inch on either side so that I've got enough wood there so that I don't split this out when I put a fastener in there to clamp the motor down to the base. I want to have 9 inches long so that I can have it on the bench and have a good support, so if I need to clamp it down to a bench I can clamp it down, or I can use the vise to grip a cleat that I'm going to attach to the bottom. I want to make the cleat 6 inches wide because I'm going to have the base 6 inches wide. 5 inches at the top, 6 inches at the bottom. So I've got a 6 inch long cleat, 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. That's just a 2x4 ripped in half. So what I'm going to make tonight, if I can, is this simple board and then attach the cleat. Now this board's been around a long time. Had a rough life from the looks of it, but it'll do what I need it to do. That's my 9-inch mark. This back edge is not perfectly straight, but it'll do. Now I want to eliminate this and this if I can. So if I come over here to 2 inches, make a mark. Come down here to 2 inches, and again make a mark. Then I can make sure that I'm drawing a straight line because this edge is not true. Now, two inches plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the 6-inch width of the base. There, that's my 6 inches by 9 inches. I'm over a ½ inch from the edge, and that's going to give me my 5-inch top. Okay, now I'm going to take my battery operated Milwaukee circular saw and cut this out. One thing you have to be careful of when you're using a battery operated saw, the battery's always on it. If you pull the trigger, it's going to move. So while you're making adjustments, it's probably a good idea to take the battery off. Now, did any of you catch my mistake as I was making it? Yep. I cut to the 45 mark on the table instead of to the 0 mark. If I'd have cut it to 0 mark, I'd have ended up with 5 inches across the top. As it is, I ended up with 5 inches across the bottom. I'm still okay, having to improvise a little bit because I rushed. That's one of my main things that I fight with all the time, is me trying to get in a hurry. Okay, we'll work through that too. Having made a mistake, I can let that bother me and have it disrupt the whole project and criticize myself, and that is absolutely useless. I gain nothing from it, and it stops me from going forward. And I want to have this be really solid. I'm going to glue this cleat on. Even though I know the screw is too short to go through there, I always have that nagging feeling in the back of my mind that I got it sticking through. But this time, nope, didn't happen. There we go. I'll wipe off the extra glue. about now is where I could pull a bonehead move and clamp this into the bench. Yeah, there's still a little glue there. I end up gluing that into place, and then I've got to make a mess getting it off. Nope, I don't think we'll do that. Try and limit myself to one mistake at a time. 0 if I can manage it. And when I can't, then try and make them small and correctable. And if you can't make them small and correctable, and you recognize that there's just no fixing it, stop, start over. Don't waste your time and effort trying to make something work that you know is not going to be what you want it to be. Doesn't match the drawing because it's a little too narrow, but it's still going to function quite well. It's going to raise it up off the table, so if I take a flat piece and try and go in here and buff it, I'll be able to get all the way through it without jamming it between the buffing wheel and the table. Okay, I have the base cut out. Needs to dry overnight, then paint, then mount the motor on it, and we should be done. And that'll finish up in the morning, and it'll either be part 2, or if I get it done soon enough, it'll be the tail end of this video. But for right now, while I'm waiting for the glue to dry, the last thing you do with every project, when you get to the end of the day, you clean up. So that's what I'm going to do now. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching. This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the US or 16 in the European Union, without the express written permission of the parents or legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.